Thank y'all for tuning in to the second episode of Sweet and Savory Eats for Free. I'm going to show you guys how I made this beautiful set of cake and cupcakes and just kind of walk you guys through the process. Here, I already have my batter and my butter and sugar here. I'm going to start by creaming that together first. As you can see, I made a mess with it. That's because I had my mixer on the highest speed, which I should have started off at the lowest one. But yeah, just cream together my butter and sugar. Then I'll add my eggs in one at a time. And this is just a two-step mixing method where you mix your wet ingredients separate in one bowl, and then your dry ingredients another, and then you'll combine those together in the end. Okay, so now I'm just mixing in my eggs, butter and sugar in with the batter, and then I'll be adding in my vanilla extract as well as my buttermilk and sour cream. And the sour cream just adds moisture to your cake. Some people like to use yogurt, but I go with sour cream just because that's just what I've been doing all this time. And yeah, just of course make sure to scrape down the sides of your bowl. Make sure there's no dry batter at the bottom of the bowl. And this is my cake batter. Of course, I use the same mix for my cupcakes, and the way that I like to fill my liners is to use a scoop, which this is the most effective way, and it gives you the best results. Or sometimes I use a measuring cup and just pour it, but this right here will give you the best results. Everything should come out even. This is what my cakes look like. As you can see, most of the time when you know that they're completely done, when they kind of automatically remove itself from the side and they don't stick to the sides of the pan. But another reason for that is using cake strips, which I'll talk more about that in another video, but they're just basically strips that you use on the rim of your pan, and it helps the cake to rise. I'm going to start off rolling out my fondant for my edible images. The images that I bought were I got them printed out at Lowe's, which I doubt I'll actually go to them again. Well, that specific location, because the quality was not good at all. My letters were very washed out, and everything just looked very plain, and I didn't really like the way it looked. But I mean, it worked for what I needed. So basically, what I'm gonna do is just roll everything out. So what I did here was I used the image, and I kind of traced it out, as a guideline using the backside of it. Then I went back with my vanilla extract and then painted the surface and attached the image to it. But now looking back at it, I really should have just painted the fondant as a whole and just placed the image on it. You'll see what I'm talking about once you see the rest of it. But yeah, but I mean, either way works as long as it comes out the correct way. I don't really have a technique when it comes to icing my cakes, just because I do it different ways each time. Um, but what I like to do is just put parchment on the perimeter of the board, because I tend to make a mess when I'm icing my cake. So it just keeps everything kind of clean, until I'm finished with the entire cake. And I also like to put a tablecloth down as well, because I'm telling y'all, I can get really messy during this process. So it just allows for easier cleanup too. I like to put at least, a half an inch layer of icing in between my cakes, because you don't want to cut into a cake and barely have any icing. And so it also adds height as well, especially with like the 9-inch double layers or even 10-inch cakes. It helps to add height to it. So that's another reason that I do that. Um, but yeah, like I said, I don't have a technique. I think the hardest part for me is like trying to cover the demarcation line and like the edges of the cake, because you can kind of still see like, or you can tell what color the cake is. Like, unless it's a naked cake that I'm making, I don't want it to be seen. So I need to invest in a white icing that'll color my icing completely white. Because it tends to come off like off white and very dim, and it's not as vibrant. Y'all excuse my bonnet in the way. But um yeah, this is pretty much it, really, as far as my cakes. So usually once I get the first layer, I like to chill my cakes for at least 5 minutes in the freezer. Then I come back and put the final layer. Before I did do that, but I started doing it last summer, and it does make a difference. Especially if you're not, you know, as skilled or comfortable with icing your cakes all at once, like all in one step. It definitely helps. Um, So as you can see here, I was attempting to give it, a different design, like a ruffle or whatever, but I didn't like the way that looked, so I just, you know, went back and tried to smooth everything out. But this is what I used to decorate the cake. I think that was Evan Williams 80% proof brown liquor, and then I just went and put gold sprinkles. Kind of just alternated them around the entire border. And I had already rolled up and put the money on top as well. And I had to take off my gloves because it can get really difficult putting like the details and stuff, and the gloves kind of get in the way. But I promise my hands were clean. So this is the finished look. I really had fun with this cake. I'm trying to get into, more so of the custom and, decorating side of cakes. And for a while, I just kept them basic, But I'm really glad that I'm getting into that more now. And these are what the cupcakes look like.